If you have abandonment wounds that haven't been dealt with, they haven't been healed, they haven't been acknowledged, then that can make you a very insecure, anxious person. That can make you have panic attacks. You can experience PTSD. There is a lack of belief in yourself. You can have communications that come from you at different levels that work against your best interest. Let's say if you were told you will never be good enough, then you'll have a psychological criticizer inside of your ego mind that reminds you that you're never good enough. No matter what you do, no matter what you try to achieve, you'll never be good enough. You can have communications that tell you you're not acceptable, you're fat, you're disgusting, we're ashamed of you. When we deal with abandonment wounds, oftentimes those wounds trigger us to seek the approval of an archetype we didn't previously get approval from. An example of that would be promiscuity. When people give their bodies freely away to one another very easily without realizing what a serious thing that is. A lot of times people do this because they have never been fully accepted by their caregiver in a way that made them feel valid. So there might be a history where they got a lot of, say, male attention, and this male attention made them feel really good, really special, really early in life. And they all of a sudden felt different than their peers because they were getting noticed and their peers weren't. And they figured out that by being more sexy or more forward or just letting people have their way with their bodies, that they were always going to get invites to things. They were always going to be the one that people were excited to see, and they were never going to be alone. And that's what they're trying to sort of mask, is this feeling of aloneness. They feel this overwhelming emptiness inside. And so they keep finding new partners to kind of try to meet that need with. But of course, when you share your body and you give away something so special and precious to someone who doesn't see it that way, what you really do is actually traumatize yourself even more, because now the subconscious communication in that is that, yeah, you really weren't special to this person either, but they enjoyed you for what you gave them, but you didn't matter. No matter how people try to meet that need, they'll go back to this original pattern of wounding, which was caused already by them being exploited or not being supported in their needs at all. And so they open themselves up to further exploitation by others who have no greater abilities to validate them either. The validation really has to happen within oneself. Every time we meet the world with our wound, what we do is open up an opportunity for people to make that wound even worse. It's like if you get a huge gash on your arm, right, and you put the Baxitracin on it and a bandage, and you're trying to let it heal and clean itself, and then you go and you do something with a bunch of friends and somebody rips that band-aid off and is deciding like they're gonna mess with it. That's kind of what you're doing. You're just letting people just mess with your wounding. And if you're not conscious that it is a wound speaking and that it actually needs love and that you're the one that can actually heal that, you won't really know, and you'll just keep wounding yourself, and that wound will keep growing and it'll keep speaking louder and louder, because the idea of it speaking at all is so that you can know it exists to heal it. The only pathway is self-respect and self-love and self-validation, and really understanding what you've been through so that you can be very careful that you don't allow anybody else into your life that's going to do that to you again. But if we have lots of friends around us that are also partaking in the same toxic behaviors and disrespecting themselves in such a way, then you end up thinking that's normal. And that's very dangerous, because now you've just acclimated to very unhealthy behaviors to get those needs met. And now your psychology is involved as well, which is much harder to get out of it once your psychology thinks that that's just normal and that's how things are.